I've strayed away from political commentary on this channel. It's been mostly about nonsense, but I want to take a minute for an aberration, and it's because it's an issue near and dear to my heart. I can't keep silent about it any longer. And this is a proposition that I have for the sitting president as well as Congress. So it's a call to our lawmakers for the 28th Amendment of the United States Constitution. And the 28th Amendment should be codifying into law personhood for dogs. We've made a lot of victories over the last couple decades in making dogs more accepted in society. We're seeing them in airports. We're seeing them at churches, in weddings, participating in weddings. We're seeing them in more homes. You might think, a home is, custom made for human beings. The doorways are a certain size. The ceilings are high, and it just seems custom made for human beings. But these buildings, they can accommodate dogs, and they should. Just because they're built for us doesn't mean that we can't share them, and we ought to share them with personhood challenged individuals, which I think is a more politically correct term for dogs. We should really get away from dogs. But that's neither here nor there. One step at a time. This constitutional amendment needs to happen sooner rather than later while we have the momentum. We're seeing dogs in traditionally human being spaces, which is good, but it's not enough. I won't rest until we've achieved that equality. The rights that are codified, that apply to us human beings: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the right to bear arms, the freedom from quartering of troops, excessive bail, things like that, that the Bill of Rights guarantees us. These should all be applied to dogs as well, and it's sickening that they don't already. And the reason is, dogs are people, obviously. They are people. We should get away from exercising our human being privilege. It's exclusive language to use language like human being, in fact. More inclusive language, I think, would be carbon-14 unit. That's how I refer to my family members, carbon-14 units. That's how I refer to my friends, my fellow church parishioners. Because every time you say human being, a dog is automatically excluded. And this is playing into the systemically oppressive society that we've built, playing into the constructs that exist to oppress and other these personhood challenged individuals. Just because they pant with their tongues out, just because they have four legs, they walk and run on all fours, and they eat off the floor, and they do a lot of things that we wouldn't necessarily do when we greet one another, for example. Eating things that we would never eat, that doesn't mean that we should rob them of equality. There have been many dogs growing up that have influenced me into thinking this way. Scooby-Doo would be a prominent example. And Scooby-Doo contributed a lot to our society by cleaning up our streets of all the goblins and ghouls. And how do we thank him? By othering him. We discriminate against the very carbon-14 units who are keeping us safe from the mummies and the goblins and the ghouls. I mean, how would you like to live in a world that is just overrun with these monsters? And we have Scooby-Doo to thank, a canine. So we really need to get away from drawing these socially engineered lines in the sand. Us versus them. Us versus them. All of our language, when we refer to ourselves, it's us versus them. We are automatically excluding these beloved members of society. Some might point out dogs are dirty, they eat disgusting things, they aren't civilized, they aren't spiritual, they don't have the emotional capacity that we do. They don't have the ability to communicate. They're not interested in building a society. They have no spiritual longings. They are unable to connect on a spiritual level. They have just limited mental capacity at large. Even the smartest ones have about the intelligence of an 18-month-old baby. Well, my response to that is, well, are they naturally that way, or did we make them that way? And I think we all know the answer deep down. The utopia that is portrayed in, for example, Beverly Hills, Chihuahua might not have come to fruition because of our oppressive regime, which is designed to keep them down. Beverly Hills, Chihuahua, I believe there's an entire dog city. And we might see things like that springing up if we give them equal rights. I personally would be fascinated to see how the polities are structured, how the personhood challenged individuals would start to structure their polities and structure their society. Maybe Chloe from Beverly Hills, Chihuahua would run for president. I would even advocate for Scooby-Doo at the top of the ticket in the U.S. Maybe Vance would be willing to be, second rank. I think he'd perform really well in a debate against Newsom or Kamala or whoever's running in 28. Who knows? I mean, untapped potential. Right now, they don't have a lot of accomplishments to speak of in the realm of science, art, literature, engineering, business, finance, craftsmanship of any kind. They don't have a lot on the resume, but I think, again, that's because of our oppressive society. We've kept them down. And I think we'd see a lot more Scooby-Doos come up, a lot more Chloes from Beverly Hills, Chihuahua, a lot more, perhaps Snoopys. Perhaps we'll have a Snoopy, even though I know that Peanuts is fictional, but one can dream. And so anyway, 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution ought to be equality for dogs. Personhood challenged individuals. Carbon-14 units, which is all of us. We are one happy carbon-14 unit family, and it's about time, it's high time our laws reflect that. Thank you.